right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Tonight, 2 arrests in the crash that severely injured an arresting officer.
It cannot have been done this quickly without your help.
The dozens of tips police received within minutes.
A windy Wednesday prompts a weather impact alert. We're tracking how strong the wind will be and the problems the gusty winds may bring.
Tonight, the threat of strong winds prompting fire warnings.
I still can't believe it.
Tonight, the help on the way for some Metro East families who know the danger all too well.
First at 10, we're just hours away from our next Weather Impact Alert Day. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Kelly Jackson. We'll be under a wind advisory tomorrow. And in the last hour, red flag fire warnings have been issued for all of our area for tomorrow. Take a look at this video from the Columbia Bottom Conservation Area in Spanish Lake this afternoon. A large brush fire broke out. Crews have contained the fire and we're busy tonight putting out hot spots. They're still investigating what caused it.
Let's get straight over to Weather Impact Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell with more on the wind and the fire danger.
Well, we do have our weather impact alert for tomorrow because we're talking about these gusty winds, 45 to 50 miles per hour, starting around 9 o'clock or so in the morning and lasting into tomorrow evening. Those 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts will work on trees that already have weakened branches because of the recent wind we've had the last couple of weeks and Friday night storms. It also means there'll be some more scattered power outages. So make sure your devices are charged and you don't want to be burning. Just within the last hour, we've had that fire red flag warning, fire weather warning expanded to include all of our area for tomorrow, as it looks like the humidity levels will be lower than we originally thought. So very dry air, very gusty winds. Tomorrow morning, winds will be gusting 35 to 40. And then during the afternoon into the evening hours, there'll be some times where the wind's gusting 45 to 50 miles per hour. The entire 5 on your side area and much of Missouri and Illinois tomorrow will experience this low humidity, the gusty winds, and outdoor burning highly discouraged. It's because of this weather system pulling out of the Rockies. Unlike what we saw on Friday, this one brings a lot of wind, but it doesn't have the moisture to work with. So any severe threat is well off to our east and northeast. On the backside of it, blizzard warnings going into effect across parts of Colorado through Kansas into Nebraska. We'll see you in a few minutes with our weekend forecast.
You can stay on top of tomorrow's Weather Impact Alert Day anytime on the 5+ streaming app. Our meteorologists are providing comprehensive and up-to-date forecasts there. Watch for free by downloading the app to your Apple, Roku, or Fire TV. Heavy winds are to blame for a series of house fires last week in East St. Louis. Several families lost their homes as a result.
Tonight, help is on the way. As 5 on your side's Brent Solomon explains, it's all thanks to a state grant allowing the city to offer critical resources in an unexpected time of need.
The images were devastating to watch.
When we received the call, it came in that a house was on fire and 2 vehicles were on fire.
It was Friday afternoon, a fire starting at this home on Baker Avenue and quickly spreading to 5 others.
Usually we don't respond to anything like this where you have several houses going and with the wind feeding it so fast, you know, time was of the essence.
Then I had got a phone call from a friend saying, man, your house on fire.
DeMario Nelson grew up in this home here on Tudor Avenue, a block away.
Fire started blazing higher and higher. I didn't get a chance to get nothing out. Clothes, wallet, everything.
Because he didn't have home insurance, the city of East St. Louis jumped in with one goal in mind:
immediate housing.
Nelson is now staying in a local hotel. The city also coordinating other resources, bus tokens, helping him fast-track replacing his ID, all as he works to get back to some sense of normal. It's part of a yearly $1.1 million state grant, helping neighbors who find themselves a victim
in case of a death, a domestic violence, a fire,
with up to $2,000 to rebound.
And this is the first time that we were granted the funds to be able to allot funding to help our community. But now we're not only on the scene saying that we are here for your social and emotional support, but we can actually provide a service to you now.
Notice that you do have people out there looking for people like us, you know, trying to help people out. It makes me feel kind of good.
Peace of mind when you're working to navigate uncertain times. Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
East St. Louis named the program Embrace as a symbol of its mission to remind neighbors the city cares. Investigators are still investigating the cause of the initial fire, but remind you not to burn outside during these heavy wind conditions.
The forecast for strong winds is prompting a warning for areas hit hardest by last week's tornadoes. Bridgeton police are urging people to be mindful of loose limbs and trees that could break and fall. Debris on the ground could also be whipped up by the winds. Authorities ask that you secure loose items. Just hours ago, county council members unanimously approved millions of dollars that will help storm cleanup in unincorporated St. Louis County. 5 on your side's Robert Townsend revisited a hard-hit area where neighbors are glad to hear that.
Drive down this street in unincorporated North St. Louis County and you'll still see piles and piles of debris like this, days after Friday's horrific storm.
They had big trees that were almost 150 feet, blew them over by the root.
Jesse Gibson and many of his neighbors on Rue Pardis Lane have been tossing tons of tree limbs, huge front lawn pieces, and parts of their roofs that flew across their neighborhood when the storm tore through.
A lot of junk out here now. They had a big doozer with a blade to come down and push it over to the side, and we had to try to pile it up.
Things are still falling apart, blowing places. We're still finding things.
Tuesday, the county started using its crews and resources to clean up storm-battered areas in unincorporated North, South, and West St. Louis County.
Aye.
Council members have now given the green light to pump $5 million of its Rams settlement money into an emergency cleanup effort for those areas. The additional funding would allow the county to hire more contractors to remove all those fallen trees and broken branches left behind.
Our neighbors haven't seen devastation like this since the Good Friday tornadoes of 2011.
One less headache and expense for storm victims, still adding up all their damage.
I do appreciate that they're getting together because we normally haven't had any assistance in the past.
If they would do that, it's great.
Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
And the county is asking people in those unincorporated areas to only leave fallen trees and broken branches as close as you can by your curbs. For more information, call the St. Louis County Road Service line. It's 314-615-8538.
Take a look at this surveillance video we obtained today showing the intensity of Friday night's storm as it blew by City Hall in O'Fallon, Illinois. The National Weather Service has confirmed an EF1 tornado passed just east of town. Several homes were damaged by hail. A stronger EF2 tornado touched down north of Mascoutah. Our coverage of the recovery of the storms continues now on KSDK.com, and just text the word tornado to 314-425-5355 and we'll send you a link. Tonight, 2 people are behind bars and charged in connection with a hit-and-run crash that critically injured a St. Louis police officer and the man he was trying to arrest. The arrest came within hours of receiving tips from the community.
5 on your side's Laura Barteski is live outside St. Louis Police Headquarters with the latest on the investigation. Laura.
Mike and Kelly, the 2 suspects charged today were for 2 separate parts of this investigation, but there are still 2 other suspects who haven't been charged yet. One of them is the one that's still in the hospital, and he hasn't even been identified, and the other was arrested.
On Monday morning, St. Louis police were chasing after 3 suspects in an Acura believed to have been part of a carjacking. They were able to stop the vehicle on I-70 at Shreve, but in the process of trying to take suspects into custody, an officer and one of the suspects were hit by this Cadillac sedan that drove off.
Within minutes, actually it was close to 25 minutes, of the photos going out on social media, we received tips from citizens who had seen the car in the St. Louis area. Because of those tips, we were able to locate the Cadillac within a couple of hours.
St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy says Frank Carr is the driver of that Cadillac and has now been arrested and charged with leaving the scene of an accident causing serious injury and tampering with evidence.
This is a regional issue, and it's also a national issue that we've seen in the last several years with reckless driving. And we're all trying, and police departments are trying to get this back under control. We're trying to change behavior. We're writing our summonses, we're doing things, but there's a lot of time. We have to appeal to the people out there, please, these are the type of things that are happening.
Police say 18-year-old Mackay Campbell has been charged with assault on a law enforcement officer, armed criminal action, aggravated fleeing, and resisting arrest. Police say Campbell was driving the Acura involved in the police chase, a chase they say was well within their rights to pursue.
These are individuals that were probably going to go out and do more violence. We're not going to get into what their past charges are right now. The circuit attorney can get into some of those things. Not this right now. We're staying with the charges that they do have. But when you take a look at who they were, firearms being recovered, and the actions they took, they were violent felons, and that's within our policy.
Chief Tracy said their injured officer went through another surgery this afternoon and continues to ask for everyone's prayers, thoughts for him and his family as they continue investigating. Reporting live downtown, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
The controversial St. Louis City workhouse is starting to come down. Demolition work began today in the former medium security jail in North City. The work was delayed a couple of months because of asbestos and lead at the site. Mayor Tashara Jones closed the facility in 2022 after multiple claims of inhumane conditions.
The workhouse is not and was not fit for human beings. And now we will make sure that no human being will ever be detained in this facility ever again.
The mayor's opponent in the April election, Alderwoman Kara Spencer, also supported the demolition of the workhouse. The city's now asking the community on what to do with the property.
A St. Louis mayoral mano a mano.
In order to fearmonger and scare people, I would never do that. As much as you want to throw around gaslighting and name calling.
Tonight, the fiery debate with just 21 days until Election Day. Mourning Murphy, the role last week's storms in the bi-state may have played in the death of a beloved bald eagle known worldwide.
Another impact alert for strong winds Wednesday. The changes those winds are whipping up as this storm system heads our way, and what you need to be watching out for tomorrow.
3 weeks from tonight, we'll know who will be the mayor of St. Louis for the next 4 years. Tonight, both candidates squared off right here in the 5 on Your Side studios.
It was the only televised mayoral debate taking place within the city limits, and our political editor Mark Maxwell was one of the moderators and joined us now with the night's best exchanges. Mark?
Yeah, a lot to get into. Let's start with the traffic enforcement. Tonight we saw a clear distinction between how aggressively police might enforce temp tags and reckless driving.
We should not be treating temp tags just like we do common criminals. That's what got us in this problem with Ferguson in the first place. And we cannot unfairly target people who are just poor.
We need to be very mindful, but we have to enforce law. And I'm not talking about folks that have expired plates by just a few months or even a year. I'm talking about folks that have a failure to even have any licenses whatsoever. We're talking about putting red light cameras in. They aren't going to do any good if you don't have a license plate at all on your car.
Then this moment, just a few seconds later, revealing a sharp exchange between the two, leading to a rapid fire fact check.
While homicides and some of the criminal activity in the city is going down, that's a good thing, but vehicular manslaughter is skyrocketing. Alvin, we had 20 people killed while walking by a vehicle last year, and this is unacceptable. We have to crack down on what is egregious, reckless driving in the city of St. Louis.
I don't know where Alderwoman Spencer's getting that data, because we had 0 people that were killed by a vehicle last year, and vehicular incidents or vehicular pedestrian deaths are down 40% since I became mayor in 2021. So again, she wants to pick the data that she wants to report, but not report and to report misleading and misinformation in order to fearmonger and scare people. I would never do that.
Frankly, to say 0 people were killed by a vehicle last year, Mayor, is just absolutely false and totally disrespectful to folks that have lost their lives at the hands of reckless drivers in our community.
Then I saw something I don't think I've ever seen before in all my years covering politics. Just moments after the debate wrapped, this email from the campaign for Mayor Jones, a statement owning her misstatement and quickly apologizing for getting her facts wrong. She said she confused pedestrian deaths with 0 cyclist deaths last year. I wish we could have fact-checked that live on the air, but I must admit that's one statistic we didn't have handy with us at the time. A lot more revealing answers on potholes, police power, transparency, and the candidates' plans to use that Rams money with clear dividing lines between them on those big issues. Polls close 3 weeks from tonight.
And if you missed tonight's debate, we will re-air right after this newscast on 5+. You can watch for free by downloading our streaming app to your Apple, Roku, or Fire TV. Just search KSDK in the App Store.
We have some sad news tonight from the World Bird Sanctuary in Valley Park. A bald eagle that captured the hearts of many across the globe died following Friday's severe weather. Murphy, a rescued eagle, was found dead in his aviary Saturday morning. He gained worldwide attention when he bonded with a rock and built a nest. The sanctuary replaced that rock with an orphan eaglet named Rocky, and Murphy raised him. Murphy was fostering a second eaglet at the time of his death. Officials believe he sustained head trauma during the storms. He died at the age of 33, far surpassing the typical lifespan of bald eagles of 20 to 25 years.
All right, let's get back to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell with that weather impact forecast and a weather impact alert for tomorrow.
Yeah, gusty winds tomorrow. We're talking winds tomorrow that could very well gust upwards of 50 miles per hour. Wouldn't be surprised to see a few places end up with even higher wind speeds tomorrow. Winds will really start to pick up after 9 o'clock. So we're running our weather impact alert from 9 o'clock in the morning until midnight tomorrow night. Winds will settle some tomorrow night, but those 40 to 50 mile per hour winds, you have to put it in perspective. Last week, before we had the severe weather on Friday, we had strong winds in the middle of the week. The week before, we had winds gusting over 50 miles per hour. And then on Friday, with those thunderstorms, many of us saw winds from 50 to 70 miles per hour. And in the tornado areas, a lot of us had winds over 100 miles per hour. So there are a lot of tree branches that are weakened, that are strained, and additional wind is going to cause some problems there. Plus, we still don't have all the power back on across the area either. So this is a complicating factor for tomorrow. That storm system is pulling out of Colorado now. The blizzard warning already in effect over the plains of Colorado. That spreads east as the colder air wraps in. At least we're not dealing with that, but we will deal with the gusty winds tomorrow. And with the very low relative humidity, the red flag or fire weather warning has been expanded to include all of our counties for tomorrow. It's probably about a 3 or 4 hour window in any one spot, but given the fact that it's going to be windy right from the get-go tomorrow morning, and then some of the gusts tomorrow afternoon could be in excess of 50 miles per hour in a few places, you just don't want to burn and chance it tomorrow. Any fires that get out of control will spread quickly, and it ends up being really bad. So we're off to a warm start tomorrow morning. No chance of rain early, around 60 degrees. As that front approaches, there'll be a very thin line here of showers. They try to develop over St. Louis. Odds favor that development farther east of town. And any chance for severe weather really does look like it's north and east and out of our viewing area into central and eastern portions of Illinois. Wrapping around the backside of this, colder air comes in, and tomorrow night, don't be surprised if we get a little rain-snow mix and we end up seeing that change over to a brief period of snow. That after we hit 84 degrees today, breaking a record from 2012. 53 was our low. It's still 70 degrees in St. Louis, only dropping to around 60 tonight. Mostly cloudy skies, the breeze staying up, and tomorrow, the winds sustained around 20 to 30 miles per hour. Very windy during the afternoon. Limited rain chances. If we're going to get a shower tomorrow, it's going to happen between noon and 4 o'clock, most likely east of St. Louis. But the wind is sticking with us all day long, and that gusty wind likely to create a few power outages additional to the ones we have now. Plus, you're going to see a few more branches and tree limbs. And we have a lot of debris, as we heard earlier in the newscast. There's still a lot of debris that's subject to easily being blown around. So be cautious tomorrow, even especially in these areas where we've had storm damage.
Absolutely. Scott, thanks.
Here's Frank with sports.
The Blues trying to stay hot, the Billikens trying to advance in the NIT, and UMSL trying to get to the Elite Eight. Stick around, please. To say the Blues are kind of hot would be like saying that Bill Gates is kind of rich. They're 10-2-2 in their last 14, and tonight in Nashville was the 15th consecutive game the coach trotted out the same forward lineup and defensive combos. The power play was precise. 6 minutes in, Justin Falk with a bomb, 1-0 note. Now this is pretty. Robert Thomas, Falk, Jake Neighbors, what a move, 2-0. Hey, they're pretty good. Neighbors had an assist, and here is the Gordie Howe hat trick, although this fight did not last very long. Here's why Jordan Kyrou is their most talented player, because he can spin and shoot like that. 3-0, he had 2 tonight, 29 for the year. Blues roll to a 4-1 victory. It wasn't their first choice, but I wasn't my wife's either. It's the NIT for the Billikens and not the NCAA tournament. Tonight they opened up play in this 87-year-old tourney at Arkansas State, and the Billikens didn't show up early. I mean, when Darian Ford hit this three, the Red Wolves led by 16 points just 9 minutes in. The Billikens mounted a run. Robbie Avila, he had 22. Best Billiken, Amari McCautry, Euro step, bucket, and one. He had 20. But Arkansas blasted the Bills 103-78. The Bills finished 19-15 and go shopping now. Not at Neiman Marcus like Kelly, but in the portal for players. Tonight in Springfield, Illinois, Lake Superior State faced UMSL in the Midwest Regional Final, and the pride of Webster Groves, Matt Enright, was outrageously good. Look at this range. He scored 29 and in the process tied the UMSL all-time record for three-pointers. Not enough. Lake Superior State won it 75-62. UMSL another wonderful season at 21-12. Wash U is in the Division III Final Four beginning on Thursday. The Bears are back in the Final Four for the first time since 2009. They'll match up with NYU in the semifinal, who they saw 2 times during the regular season.
They're complete. We are very familiar, having played them twice. And that's, a unique thing, and I like our position. It's been exciting to go back and I think we're a very different team than we were 6 weeks ago. No doubt they are as well. But it's great for our league. One of our teams from our league is going to be playing for a national championship, and obviously we would love that to be us.
Taking flight. Card Spring Training, sponsored by Woods Basement Systems.
Up in the zone. The wind was active today in Jupiter, and the Cardinals took advantage against the Marlins. Pedro Paez and Jose Fermin went back-to-back in the 7th to give the Cardinals a 4-3 lead, but the Marlins would tie it in the 9th as the game ends in a 4-4 tie. It's the Cardinals' 3rd tie in a week. So Kelly Chase is staging his 2nd Puck Cancer Night at at Centene on April 4th. The stars are coming too. Everybody from Brett Hall to John Elway, and tickets are available. Kelly is fighting cancer. This is video of him today at Siteman Cancer Center. The game raised $728,000 last year, and Kelly felt the need to bring in the best to raise some more money.
When my cancer came back, we decided we could possibly stay in the realm of helping people, and of course I want it to be as big as it was before. Some of the legwork is done last year. It makes it easier, but still finding the right group of guys has been fun, and we've got a good grouping of guys we're proud of.
God bless Kelly Chase. Hey, today at Enterprise, I got to see a really cool thing. The Edwardsville High School hockey team giving a check of over $50,000 to fight cancer. This squad has been raising money for over 2 years now, and the grand total is $94,000. And good luck to them as they head to California to play in the USA Nationals. The SIUE Cougars are in Wichita this afternoon. They got their first look at Intrust Bank Arena. They will formally practice again tomorrow and then play the top-seeded Houston Cougars in the Midwest Regional First Round on Thursday. And in 5 hours, Corey Miller and I will be driving to cover SIUE and Mizzou, and you can see our reports beginning tomorrow at 5 o'clock. If anybody would like to drop off some Red Bull at my house, they can do that. It's a long drive. I think it's 6 hours and 17 minutes.
All right, so Mizzou's first game is against Drake, and that sounds scary.
It does.
Because Drake looks really good.
Yeah, they're one of the 5 teams in America with 30 victories this season, and they play so doggone slow, and Mizzou plays so fast, it's going to be the tortoise and the hare.
Look forward to your reports.
Yep.
Some mathletes have been training to avoid bracket busters. What their findings say about 2 of our local teams in the Big Dance.
Math professors at Furman University in South Carolina are hoping to beat the odds with their NCAA brackets. They're using analytics to predict upsets. These mathletes foresee only upsets for games where the teams are seeded at least 5 apart. That's kind of good news for 16-seed SIUE. However, Mizzou is a 6 seed playing an 11 seed.
The Radio City Rockettes kicked off their 100th anniversary this morning on the Today Show. The longest running precision dance company got its start here in St. Louis back in 1925. They were known as the Missouri Rockettes. 100 years later, the Rockettes are expanding their dancer development program with open auditions. They kick off on April 22nd at Radio City Music Hall. And I think that was Missouri Rockets.
And Scott has a final check of tomorrow's weather impact alert.
Yeah, we are talking about wind tomorrow. During the morning hours, it's pretty quiet. Clouds keep rolling in. Temperatures are around 60 out the door. But as we head through the day, the winds pick up, become gusty. That's why we have our weather impact alert tomorrow. Winds could gust about 50 miles per hour. Really low chance of seeing any rain tomorrow. That should be mainly east of St. Louis. And any severe weather should stay in central and eastern portions of Illinois, out of the 5 on your side viewing area. Then a chance for a few snowflakes tomorrow night. Don't burn outside tomorrow, please, because those wildfires will go crazy.
Keep the Weber grill covered.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Scott. There you have it. 5 on your side at 10. We're always streaming on 5+.
And we hope you'll start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.